I'd like to call to order the February 5th Citizen Advisory Committee meeting. We'll start with a roll call.
Cooper. Present. Rasso Adela.
Present.
Patel. Obleton.
Present.
Gleason.
Present.
Wills. Lord.
Present.
Hodges.
Present.
Byrd.
Present.
Holloway.
Present.
Kiefer.
Here.
Johnson. Gilmore.
Present.
Nolan.
Present.
Rasso Allen.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you so much. I know we have a number of presentations here tonight, but is there anyone else with CAC business from the public? Seeing none, we will start with the presentations. Good evening. My name is Mark Holloway, and it is my pleasure to serve as the current chairperson for the CAC. Tonight, we will hear presentations by agencies who are applying for the Year 50 Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG funds. CDBG funds are provided to the city by the Federal Government Department of Housing and Urban Development. I want to thank each presenter for taking their personal time tonight to make these presentations on behalf of their organization and the individuals and families they represent and serve. I would like to go over a few basic ground rules we will follow this evening. Number one, I would ask everyone with a cell phone or other electronic device to please turn them off or place them in the silent mode. Two, I remind each presenter that you have 5 minutes to present, and that includes time for any guests or presenters you have with you. If you did bring a guest, I ask that you allow that guest to address the CAC first. The city staff will keep track of the time. When your time has expired, you will hear a beep. If you have any handouts, please email them to Dawn or Heather, and they will distribute them to the CAC members after the presentation. These presentations are being videotaped, so they can be seen on the city's website at a later time. At the conclusion of your presentation, there will be an opportunity for members of the CAC to ask questions. I remind everyone that each CAC member has reviewed each application individually, and we've had an opportunity to meet together in a work session with staff to ask for clarifications or questions that we had about each individual application. Many of you have already received these questions and have responded to them, and I want to thank you for your timely responses. I mention this to assure you that if there is no reason for concern if you do not get any questions tonight. Conversely, if you do get questions tonight, it merely means that members of the CAC have thought up a question that they had not previously thought of before, and they just need clarification about a specific point. We will proceed with the presentations in the order shown on the agenda. I ask each presenter to give your name and the agency or organization you're representing. With that, I will ask for each member of the CAC to introduce themselves, and we'll start down here with Ms. Cooper, and we'll go on, and then we'll go on to Joe. Okay?
Adela Russell.
Joseph Obleton.
Therese Gleason.
Tammy Lord. Elizabeth Hodges.
Austin Byrd.
Mark Holloway.
Chad Kiefer.
Reagan Johnson.
Dale Gilmore.
Nancy Nolan.
We will begin with Vera French.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
My name is Lachelle Holloway. I work for Vera French. I am an SCL coordinator. So I'd like to start off saying that Vera French Supported Community Living SCL program works with people who have mental health diagnosis who live independently in the community. Our clients are able to do this by having the extra support that the individual requires by providing regular visits with the staff. It can be determined if mental health symptoms are increasing. When this occurs, additional visits and services are offered to them to assist in keeping them living independently in the community and out of residential facilities, jails, or worse, homelessness. One of the most important services that we offer is medication management. Staff assists each of our clients with education about their medications so they will understand exactly what the medication is for and how it assists them in their day-to-day lives. Staff assists the clients in filling their medication organizers so that the client will know when to take the medications. Some pharmacies now offer bubble packs which have the day and time that the medication is to be taken, as well as allow the clients to know if they did or did not take their medication. Staff assists the clients in setting up their medication, delivery, and also assist them by taking them to the pharmacy or picking up their medications and taking it to the clients so they won't run out their medications. Staff also assists the clients in setting reminders on their phones, alarms, so it will alert them to take their medications. Many of our clients do not feel comfortable going out into the community, stores, medical appointments, etc., alone due to usually depression or anxiety or both. SCL staff offer extra emotional support that our clients need by going with them to stores, on outings to socialize, or even to their medical appointments. While our clients, SCL staff assist the clients in using the coping skills that they stated works best for them in these situations. Education is another important service that SCL offers to our clients. We educate our clients about medications, coping skills, budgeting, the importance of socialization, and so many other topics. Clients with mental health diagnoses may not have been educated about living independently and what it entails, such as paying bills or applying for assistance that's offered in the community. SCL staff assists and educate our clients about filling out the necessary paperwork that this entails. Many of our clients do not have a car. Staff educate them about not only public transportation, but also educate and assist them in setting up medical transportation for their medical appointments. Last but not least, Real Friends Supported Community SCL program is all about assisting our clients to remain independently living in the community. We do this through advocating, educating, and supporting them. We offer our clients a sense of safety that they may not otherwise get. The number of those in the community suffering with mental health symptoms and seeking assistance grow on a daily basis, and SCL is here to assist and support those who need it. On behalf of our clients, present and future, as well as our staff, I would like to express our deepest appreciation to the CAC and the city for your continued support of our program to better serve Scott County residents. With your help, we are able to make a difference in the lives of those we serve currently and those who we will serve in the future. Thank you.
Before you go, does any member of the CAC have any questions? for our
My bad,
principal?
I'm running.
I don't see any questions at the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. Next, we'll have a presentation from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Mississippi Valley.
Hello, thank you for having us here tonight. I'm Sarah Sperry. I'm the Chief Program Officer at Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Mississippi Valley. We are a one-on-one youth mentoring organization. We match youth in the community ages 5, supporting them up through 12th grade, and then actually a handful post-secondary with adult mentors. I have with me tonight Kathy, who is one of our big sisters. She's been matched with Marisa, who lives in Davenport. She's in 4th grade at Wilson. They've been matched for about 10.5 months. And then Michelle is Marisa's mom, and I'm going to let them take it from here.
Hello, I'm Kathy. I just want to say that it just brings me so much joy to be a part of this program. And just to be there with my little sister and just to watch her journey through life and just helping her to become a responsible adult. Thank you.
Tom, what's one of the fun things that you like to do with Big Brothers Big Sisters?
The figgy.
Art classes. Yeah, what do we do with the Figgy? What do we have at the Figgy? We have art classes. We have a partnership with the Figgy Museum where our bigs and our littles are able to do art classes once a month. We've been doing those for about a year and a half. It's very, very popular. And that is something that Kathy and Marisa do very regularly. What else? What other kinds of things have you done with Kathy in the past 10 months? Done swimming. Went to the zoo. Is that what Kathy said? Excellent. Mhm.
And I know she's looking forward to the putt around tomorrow and also a trip to Dick's Sporting Goods coming up, that they're doing some activities there. And I'll right into my little spiel. So one of the things that I love being a single parent, that it gives an extra positive adult for them to go to. So it's not always, mom and some things you don't want to talk about with your mom. So it's always nice having a nice, safe adult for them to go to be able to talk to about different problems they're having. If they're struggling, that there's somebody else that they can go to for help that's not going to put them in a bad situation. It helps them build their confidence tremendously. This is one of 3 of mine that are in the Big Brother Sisters program. So my other 2 have really built their confidence as well. And one thing I've noticed with my oldest, he's not a very sports guy, but his big is. And that's one thing that he has done, is that he has stepped out of his comfort zone and he has actually gone and run a mile race with his big. So that's something that he would have never done on his own without that extra support from them. So I thank you guys for that.
Excellent, thank you. So just a few things that are good for you all to know. Right now we have 90 kids that are matched with a big in the city of Davenport, which is amazing, and we're very proud of that. We also have 125 on our waiting list. And that's really without even trying very hard to get kids. We have many parents who learn about Big Brothers Big Sisters and reach out to us because they know that they really want to have that additional positive support in their child's life that isn't somebody that they already are living with. So really that's what this funding is helpful for us. It helps us to recruit additional volunteers. It helps us do the screening process, train those volunteers so that they feel more comfortable in their role as a mentor. Also a big component of Big Brothers Big Sisters programming is ongoing match support. So in addition to providing just those activities that our bigs and littles do together, we have a significant staff of match support specialists. Their role really is to connect with the volunteer, with the child, with the parent consistently throughout the time that they are matched, and make sure that they are addressing challenges, setting goals, looking at successes and growth in the child and how we can build on those strengths. And that's really what this funding helps support throughout the city of Davenport for those kids. Any questions?
So I have a question. I see the young lady has a sash. What is that?
So she also does pageants, so she's actually our junior Miss Scott County.
And when we were enrolling Marisa and we were enrolling Kathy also has some experience with pageants and that world with her own daughter. We really do look at compatibility for interest and just personality traits and strengths and experiences in our mentors and our bigs that can connect with the child that they're going to be working with. And this was a very good one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have a representative from the Salvation Army.
Could you, is there a way, because we couldn't hear half parts of what she was saying. Is there some kind of way we can let them know they need to
It's
speak up?
on. Let me turn it up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you, Representative Overton. So when the presenters come up, please make sure you're standing as close as possible to the square right above the podium. That way we can better pick up what you're saying. Thank you so much. Please.
Hello, my name is Kelly Larned, and I am the Program and Operations Director for the Salvation Army. I'd first like to thank you for allowing me to come and present on behalf of the Salvation Army for our homeless prevention program to help pay for our family services case manager and our front desk worker. I would like to take a moment to tell you a story, and I want you to think about how you would feel if this was you and your family. Imagine you are at home and you receive a call stating that your son collapsed at practice and is being rushed to the hospital. And when you get to the hospital, they have no idea what is wrong with your son, and that he has some kind of mysterious illness, and he is unconscious, and they're running more tests to see what's wrong with him. Then you are told in the waiting room that your son has a rare condition that causes inflammation in the middle of the layer of the heart and can lead to heart failure at any time, and that he needs a heart transplant as soon as possible. On October 11, 2019, your son gets a heart transplant, and everything seems to be going okay until 2023. When you are told that your son needs another heart transplant, and due to the medical needs of your son, you have to transport him to and from Davenport to Chicago multiple times a month. And pay for his medical needs. You have 3 other children at home that you have to take care of. You have to pay rent, you have to pay your bills, and you have your own full-time business of cleaning houses. Then in December of 2023, you are served with an eviction notice that you and your 4 kids have to be out of your housing if you don't pay $3,501.23. You have 1 child that just had a second heart transplant and 3 other children that you have to take care of, and you know if you get the eviction, you will not be able to find another place. You will have to face going into the homeless population. Knowing you cannot pay the $3,501.23, you go in eviction court hopes that you will not be evicted and that you will not lose the only place you call home for you and your children. When you get there, you talk to legal aid and the Salvation Army Family Services case manager to see if they can help you and find out there might be a little bit of hope. You find out the Salvation Army case manager worked with the landlord and were able to pay $3,000 for October, November, and December's rent. You also find out that the landlord dropped the late fees based on the case manager talking and getting him to drop the late fees. And that you only had to pay the court costs. And you and your family do not have to go into the homeless population. And you and your family get to remain in their own home. I'm sure that some of you are thinking, wow, that is a roller coaster of emotions. And thinking, I'm glad that this is not me. But the bottom line is that it can be any of us in this room. It only takes one tragedy like this. Some of you might be asking yourself, is this a true story? And yes, it is a true story. And the mom's name is Christina. Christina was planning on being here tonight to tell her own story. But unfortunately this morning, her son was rushed to the hospital with some complications with his heart. But she did give me permission to share her story. Our Family Services case manager is responsible for our homeless prevention program, which means assisting Davenport residents with rent and deposit assistance. Our front desk worker is there to help people when they first come in or on the phone. And they do a pre-screen and tell them what required documents and all that pre-stuff that we have to do. The Salvation Army is a lead agency for homeless prevention in Scott County. The city of Davenport has the highest eviction rate in the state of Iowa. It is the 44th highest in the nation, according to Eviction Lab. This is only going to continue to get worse, which is why it is important to continue to fund our Family Services case manager. The case manager works with households needing rent/deposit assistance. We provide case management, work on budgets, advocate on behalf of the clients like we did for Christina. We also partner with legal aid, and we are at eviction court every Tuesday to help those that are facing eviction. In FY48 for Davenport CDBG funding, our Family Service case manager served 269 Davenport residents from going into the already overpopulated homeless population. Without the assistance from Davenport CDBG, we would not be able to continue with Davenport residents with rent assistance to remain in their own home or deposit assistance to find their new home. And out of those 269, that was 116 households that we served. And again, thank you for considering our application. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those at this time.
Thank you, Kelly. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you so much. Next, we'll have a representative from Humility Homes and Services.
Hello, everybody. I'm Angie Bloomfield. This is the first time presenting to you all, so thank you for the invitation to be here tonight. I'm the new-ish Director of Grants and Strategic Initiatives Director for Humility. And on the tails of Kelly's presentation, I would just like to take that a little bit further and tell you that what we would do on the backside of that story would be to receive that family if they did enter homelessness. We would hope that they wouldn't, but if they do, then we would be the next step in that family's process. So thank you for that excellent entrance for me, Kelly. That was totally not planned. So the funding that we request from CDBG is to support our position at our emergency shelter location that does intake and diversion for every person entering into literal homelessness. Last year, that intake diversion specialist spent time with 1,175 unique individuals. They primarily come from Davenport, but they do also come from Rock Island, Clinton, and Jackson County as well, but primarily from Davenport. The primary focus for that position is to collect all of the demographics that we need to remain within HUD compliance, to seek other resources, to be good stewardship of all of the funding that comes in, to try to identify alternative solutions, and as a last resort, to place them in emergency shelter. Without that funding, the individual would have gaps in services, would be going from door to door, would not have any direction, would not have immediate access to a case manager, would not have immediate access to mental health stabilization. The families would have gaps. We work hand in hand with a number of resources in trying to get services in line for the families or the individual as quickly as we can to avoid emergency shelter and get them into homes of their own. It's an imperative position that helps us stay in compliance with HUD regulations to allow us to leverage additional HUD funding. So it goes hand in hand for us. With that position, we're able to secure additional funding, access resources faster, and get families into homes as quickly as possible. So without much further ado, is there any questions for me that I can answer?
Thank you, Angie. Are there any questions?
Thank
No,
you.
ma'am. Thank you. Next, we'll have a representative from Family Resources.
Good evening. My name is Jacqueline, and I am the domestic abuse legal advocate in Scott County at Family Resources. I'm here today to share a success story involving a survivor I worked closely with to escape domestic abuse that the CDBG grant helped facilitate. As I worked with this survivor, I provided civil legal advocacy, economic advocacy, housing advocacy, safety planning, life skills, material assistance, and emotional support. By providing these services to this survivor, she was able to overcome some of the stressful barriers to successfully leaving her abuser and take control back over her own life. This survivor had been in an abusive marriage for many years. The survivor's husband was physically, emotionally, and psychologically abusive. He would hit, shove, and throw things at his wife. The abuser would yell mean, hateful, and nasty things at the survivor, calling her names and degrading her. The abuser would stalk the survivor. He followed her to the gas station or store to make sure the survivor was doing only what the abuser allowed her to do and nothing else. The abuser used many different tactics to intimidate, scare, and manipulate the survivor. Over the course of the marriage and abuse, the police were involved several times and had to intervene to protect the survivor from harm. He was arrested and removed from the home, and the survivor was given an order of protection. One may think that this is a solution to put an end to the abuse. However, there are many barriers to escaping domestic abuse. For example, in this survivor's case, income was a huge barrier. The survivor could not afford to live in the home and take the responsibility of all the bills on her own. She was falling behind on the monthly rent and utilities. The survivor was worried that soon she would face eviction and become homeless. To add some context, this survivor was disabled and unable to work a full-time job. Getting more hours, picking up another job was not an option. The abuser was also telling those close family and friends how much he missed his wife and that he felt sorry for what he had done. He told these family members to tell the survivor that he was going to change. He was going to get counseling. He swore the abuse would never happen again. At the time, the survivor felt that she had no other option. The survivor did not want to face homelessness and also had a little bit of hope that maybe this time would be different. I wish I could tell you that this is where the story ends, that the abuser did change and the survivor was safe. However, that was not the case. The abuser returned home and continued to abuse his wife. Eventually, the survivor had had enough and stopped at the Scott County Courthouse to ask for help. The clerk of court assisted the survivor by connecting her with me. I assisted the survivor with filling out an emergency civil order of protection. The judge signed a temporary and immediate order of protection and scheduled a hearing for the final order. A few days later, I met with the survivor to explain what would happen in the hearing and to help prepare her for court. I explained to the survivor that when we go to the hearing, her abuser will be given 3 choices for how to proceed. He can agree to the final order of protection. He can ask to go before the judge and explain why the survivor doesn't deserve the order of protection, or he can ask for a continuance to give him time to get an attorney. If he chooses to go before the court, the survivor will have time to explain to the judge why she feels she needs a final order of protection. I spent time with the survivor to help her be prepared to speak to the judge if she needed to. The survivor practiced talking about the abuse that she endured. I assisted her in writing down the order of events of the abuse that she could use as talking points in the court hearing. This would provide the judge the information to show that the abuse had been ongoing for years. The time spent preparing for court is very difficult. The survivor experienced great emotion as she had to recall the abuse that she had endured. She was very frightened by the thought of having to see her abuser in court and speak about the abuse she suffered at his hand. I thoroughly explained the court process. We also discussed the importance of her body language and refraining from responding verbally to anything that he says when it's his time to talk to the judge. It is very difficult for survivors to listen to their abusers lie about the situations to make themselves look better. I explained that after the abuser tells the story, the judge will ask the survivor if she has anything else to add to her testimony. The survivor was able to get her final order of protection since she brought in physical evidence and was able to prove to the court that she was in danger, and the 1-year order of protection was ordered and granted. The survivor cried happy tears. It was the first time I ever had a survivor hug me. She told me that if I had not been there, she would not have had the confidence to continue going to court and through these proceedings. Thank you very much.
Are any questions for Jacqueline? Thank you. Next, we'll have a representative from Project Renewal.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity of being here tonight. Let my guest introduce herself.
Hello and good evening. My name is Lorena Steinke. I am the program manager at Project Renewal. I grew up 3 blocks away and became a Project Renewal kid myself in 3rd grade and then again 6th grade on up. My perspective as a kid at Project Renewal was anything but ordinary. It was a place that I could call a second home. It was a safe space. Sorry, it's a little emotional. Project Renewal not only helped me with homework, but they also showed me values, knowledge, encouragement, and hope in a better future for myself as a first generation citizen. Oh, excuse me. I've created friendships that I still have to this day after 10 years. They've driven me up all the way to Des Moines for an internship as a page for both the House and Senate and given me college tours. But one of the most important and supportive things they've done for me and my family was being there when 2020 came around and my dad was in the ICU due to COVID for 2 months. They assisted and helped me vocalize my concerns and be an advocate for my dad, even years after I was out of school. They mean so much to me that I invited them to my wedding in 2022. And now in the position that I have at Project Renewal, it is very important for me to implement everything I was given and more. I'm sorry. I can honestly say I would not be here without them. I asked one of my students today, if you can explain what Project Renewal means to you, what would it be? She responded with safe space. And I believe that's exactly what we are. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
not only filling an important need financially for Project Renewal, it is meaningful for the whole span of a youth development. Your help builds and inspires countless lives who come through our doors at Project Renewal as we carry on in the spirit of kindness and generosity. As you see, we serve the whole age range, grades K through 12, with academic support, personal support, family support, while our focus is driven to supporting youth in grades K through 12. A lot of peripheral things happen, whether it's with family stability and even our neighborhood stability. Historically, Project Renewal has taken root in our neighborhood and celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. The first 20 years of our service was run entirely by volunteers. One of the unique things, as I mentioned, we operate right in the neighborhood where we serve as well, and we have staff and volunteers who are residents of this neighborhood, which also helps us having a neighbor's perspective and develop those trusting relationships. A second unique thing is serving kids in all grades K through 12. As far as I know, I don't know any other organization that does that. And not that everyone has to, nor should they, but in our case, that approach is what has shown us over the decades a lot of success and meaningful, long-lasting gains for our kids and their entire family. And then a third unique thing is there's no charge for our services ever, whether it's taking them on those college visits, signing kids up for swimming lessons, whatever we do through Project Renewal. We're a local grassroots organization and specialize in youth development, helping young people create a path for their meaningful future, and they're becoming leaders in our community and people who fulfill our workforce as well. Our young people help create our neighborhood to be livable. We have Project Renewal itself has restored and renewed properties in our neighborhood that were once condemned or overlooked and led to disintegrate, basically. And we advocate and spread awareness of these concerns. Our neighborhood presence has countered years of the disinvestment and eyesores and problems that have taken place and often go unnoticed. Thank you for your support.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have a representative from the Friendly House.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Irwin. I am with the Friendly. Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Cassandra Irwin. I'm with Friendly House, and I have here Sage. Mama's missing. God, I forget their name. Kaya, and they are going to tell us a little bit about the Friendly House Youth Program. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Sage. I'm not really good at public speaking, so excuse me. The Friendly House has been very beneficial to me and my family. I'm a single mother of 4, freshly out of a really toxic relationship. I work full time, not able to get my kids from school, and they help a lot with that. I work 8 to 4:30. So them being able to pick my children up from school and make sure that they have a safe environment, it means a lot to me. I have little to no support system, so it takes a lot of stress off of my shoulder. They also are helping teach my kids how to play with other children and, use their voices and their words to express themselves other than not wanting to play, not wanting to, use their words. I very much appreciate the Friendly House.
Thank you.
So Friendly House has a youth program. That's what we are seeking CDBG funding for. Our youth program serves kids from 5 to 12, and we have options for summer care, for after-school care, and plus days, which provides care during snow days, school emergencies, and in-service days that parents usually are not off for. Like Sage said, we do, our student care is open from 6:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night, and after schools is our youth program. That care is open 11 hours a day on the summertime. So it does give parents with long shifts a lot of options and a lot of flexibility. We have a lot of parents that come and drop their kids off after working nights so that they can sleep. We also are an affordable care. We have about 85% of our families are receiving subsidies that help to pay for the after-school care that everybody needs. And yeah, we also serve as a community hub because parents can come in, and while they're coming in for childcare, they might not necessarily be seeking other services, but we have options like coat giveaways, shoe giveaways, that because that they're interacting with us at that level, they have opportunities for other resources that they might have never even thought of the need or even realized it. Yeah. And I'm good if you want to have, if anybody has questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions at all? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next, we'll have a representative from the Boys and Girls Club of the Mississippi Valley.
Hello, my name is Jody Barton, and I am the Director of Operations for the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Mississippi Valley. And I have with me Carson. He is one of our members in the Davenport Club, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself and club.
All right. Hello, my name is Carson. My age is 11. I am 11 and I am in 6th grade. I've been at club for about 4 to 5 years, and it's important because
Doing fine. You're doing fine.
Say whatever you want to say, bud.
Right. It's important because they teach us lessons like how to be sociable to people, and they teach us how to do sports like soccer, football, and basketball. And they let us do some things on our own, like playing video games and other stuff like that.
Cool.
Great. Thank you so much.
So we provide curriculum for the kids. We they come after school. We're an after-school program. We serve kindergarten through 12th grade. When the kids come in, they're fed snack. We also give them dinner. But we provide them help with their homework too. We call it Power Hour. And it's a time where they can work on homework. If they don't have homework, then they have the option to do an educational activity otherwise. Then we move into our program time, and we focus on 5 core areas: service and leadership, health and wellness, sports and recreation, STEM, and the arts. So we are trying to give them a very well-rounded experiences in all areas. We do activities with them. It can be anything from, they've made scarves to give to the homeless. We have a new VR set that they love and get to explore, where was it? I can't say it, but some other country, and llamas and the lizards and all the cool things you're seeing.
Machu Picchu?
Machu Picchu, there you go, say it again.
Machu Picchu.
There you go, see? And as well as making volcanoes, they just get to explore everything. Another thing that's very important to us is giving them experiences. I come from a very small town, and so it's important for me as the Director of Operations to give our members opportunity to see that there's a whole big world out there. And one of the ways that we do that is partnering with other community members. STEAM on Wheels we work with, Common Core we work with, Girl Scouts we work with, Family Resources, the libraries, whoever we can, we bring them in to help open the windows and doors of life and the world to these kids. It's also very important that we provide a safe space for them, not only physically, but emotionally. And Family Resources is a very good example of one of our partnerships that we have for that reason. Our kids came in, they were struggling. There was a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings and a lot of regression due to COVID. And so by bringing in family resources, it's one area where we are able to help support them and let them talk about their traumas, their fears, whatever they have going on. A good example of that would be when the building collapsed here in Davenport. A lot of our kids had a lot of things to say about and needed to talk through that. And our program, whether it was with family resources and referral or our staff, was able to kind of talk them through that tragedy and help them. So we really try to be an extension for our kids of their families. We're there for them, we support them, we're here to empower them and just let them know that they are cared for and the whole world is out there waiting for them. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none? Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Next, we'll have a representative from Iowa Legal Aid.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Molly McDonald. I'm the Assistant Managing Attorney at the Davenport Office of Iowa Legal Aid. I want to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to speak about Iowa Legal Aid's efforts to help Davenport citizens reach housing stability and safety. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Iowa Legal Aid, we are a nonprofit law firm that provides civil legal assistance to low-income Iowans. We're the only attorneys in the state that perform this work for this population. And given that there's no constitutional right to an attorney for civil issues like losing your home, our work is even more important. In response to the growing need for civil services among low-income Iowans that are facing eviction and the loss of housing, Iowa Legal Aid responded to this challenge by creating our eviction diversion program in several parts of the state, and in particular in Scott County. We're down in the courthouse every Tuesday with the help of our friends at Salvation Army to help tenants that are facing eviction. Our attorneys will meet with folks, attempt to negotiate with landlords, put some money in landlords' pockets with the help of Salvation Army, and raise defenses in court that are helpful to help tenants stay in their homes, stay stable, and again, try to negotiate with landlords to make repairs on homes or get money in their pockets, which is very helpful for everybody involved. Scott County has the highest rate of evictions in Iowa, and Davenport itself has a significant eviction problem. We know this. 90% of our eviction work in Scott County is centralized in Davenport. From 2018 to 2023, the number of eviction cases closed by Iowa Legal Aid for Davenport residents increased by 274%. 5,000 clients and household members were helped by Iowa Legal Aid during that time, including approximately 2,000 children. Our attorneys are very good at their work. We had 95% favorable rates for helping these people, and as I mentioned before, that could be anything from negotiating with the landlords to put money in their pockets and keep our clients housed, to going up in front of a judge and arguing that something was done wrong according to the law. It helps when we have community partners doing the work. It takes a village, truly. We wouldn't be able to do the work that we are able to do without our community partners. That's why it's so important that we have the access to potential funds like CDBG here with the help of the city. We can estimate here that by the work that we're doing and by helping Davenport low-income renters maintain their housing and avoid the need for emergency housing, we'd be saving the local government $9 million. Now, lawyers go into the work that we do to avoid doing math, but even I know that this is a big number. As of February 2nd, we've opened 59 plus eviction cases for Davenport residents. At the rate of service, if we maintain this throughout the year, we could end the year with over 750 eviction cases for Davenport residents alone. Now, this is crucial because as of that same date, February 2nd, 173 eviction cases plus had been filed in the Scott County Courthouse alone. So again, if we continue that rate, that continues to increase. We could see 91% of eviction cases being filed in Scott County against Davenport residents alone. So it's not unreasonable that we could be looking at 1,700 Davenport households and nearly 4,000 residents alone facing eviction in 2024. In order for Davenport residents to avoid homelessness and achieve housing stability, Iowa Legal Aid is humbly asking for the city to grant our request for CDBG funds and help us be at the table, be part of that village, because it really does take a village here, and Iowa Legal Aid is a unique player to help Scott County residents and Davenport residents in particular maintain housing stability and achieve that housing safety that everybody deserves. Thank you all so much for your time today. Stay safe. Thank you.
Any questions at all? Molly, thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Next, we would like to hear from members of Common Cord.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tyson Danner. I'm the Executive Director of Common Cord. With me is CJ Parker, who's going to speak in a moment, who is our staff lead program coordinator for the Intune program we'd like to share with you tonight. Common Cord, which you may have formerly known as the River Music Experience, is an organization that's all about using the power of music to build a better community in all the different ways that happens. Excuse me. As we have developed our educational programming over the past few years, we began talking to some of our partners. Speaking of It Takes a Village, it really does. We're happy to be here among the likes of Project Renewal and Big Brothers Big Sisters and Boys and Girls Clubs, who we've worked with to discover the way we can best make an impact on our community. When we began developing this program, we were seeking the ways to be as impactful as possible. And our site partners told us, instead of one-time visits here and there, that they and the kids most needed long-term mentoring relationships, but that music could be a path to creating those connections. So we developed a 3-year pilot phase for this program, which is ending here this summer, where we explored through a student-led process what their passions were and what might cause those connections. The program is delivered by our staff mentors, who are not only educators, but they're musicians, and they get to share those experiences with the students. And we think that partnerships are magnifying the strength of both parties. As we move into our next few years, and CJ will share a bit about where we are now, we're seeking to move from that pilot phase into a long-term permanent program. I think we've discovered a lot of things that work. I think we've discovered a lot of things that don't work and learned from those processes. And we want to make that commitment to our site partners that we have currently, as well as those who are sort of knocking at the door asking if they can get the program.
Like Tyson said, my name is CJ Parker. I'm the Intune program coordinator. So I kind of direct how the program's operated. I guess that's what coordinating means. So what usual programs look like, right now we're at 5, 6 sites. We have obviously our friends, Project Renewal, Boys and Girls Club, Davenport and Moline. And then we also have Martin Luther King Center. So we've just been building more connections as the years have gone by in our pilot phase, obviously realizing what works, realizing what doesn't, and realizing how to mentor the kids. The Intune mentorship program is a mentorship program, right? So we're one-on-one with kids. We do have a curriculum that I've built throughout the last couple of years to make sure that there's structure, and that we're continuing to build structure with our mentors, and looking to get more mentors as the program progresses. Every program has its individual identity, working towards its common goal of music empowerment and personal growth. So obviously we're a music nonprofit, and the main thing that we do has to do with instruments, but it's so much more than that. When we talk to these individual kids, we talk about how their day is going, what their day is like. Well, how was school? We ask them that before every single program, so that it's not just about maybe learning an instrument. It's not just about different things, but it's about skills that we can implement and that we can bring to the table that isn't just having a horn in your hand. We partner with the Quad City Arts to bring educational touring artists that they come every Tuesday, and they talk to our different programs and sites about what it's like to be a touring artist, about their culture and their background. Last year we had an artist called Martha Redbone. She's a touring artist and she's from Minneapolis. And she came in and talked to the kids about her culture and her background and her music. Quick student story, we had a kid that he wanted to play saxophone, and one of our mentors was a saxophone player. The kid was in the 4th grade. He wasn't ready to learn an instrument yet, but he quickly realized that that's what he wanted to do, and now he is an all-district saxophone player. So what our program can do for these kids is more than just music. It's personal growth. Thank you so much.
And as we move forward into the next few years of this program, these grant funds are going to help us secure the trained professional mentors that we need to continue partnering with community sites and move forward into additional sites in Davenport and throughout the Quad Cities.
Are there any questions at all? Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Next, we'll have the Center for Active Seniors.
Good evening. My name is Laura Kopp, and I am the president and CEO at KSI, the Center for Active Seniors in Davenport. And I want to thank you for having us this evening, giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about KSI and our history here in the Quad Cities. KSI was founded in 1973. We'll be celebrating our 51st birthday this coming Wednesday. And we were started in reaction to the needs of older adults in our community, particularly those in regards to transportation, affordable senior housing, and nutrition. And in 1989, we started the Senior Advocacy and Outreach Program. This program services over 2,500 older adults every year, connecting them with the services and supports that they need to remain independent in their homes for as long as possible. We call this aging in place. And I think most of us would agree, and as does the National Council on Aging, that this is the way that we would prefer to age. We've paid a lot for our homes. We've worked really hard throughout our lives, and we want to remain independent. We want to stay active. We want to stay in our homes, and we want to age there and age well. In 2015, Scott County received funding from CDBG, and in conversation with Scott County, our county funding was reallocated to support almost in full the Senior Advocacy Program and our Adult Day Program. At that time, KSI decided to surrender our CDBG funding in an effort to allow other organizations serving those populations the opportunity to apply for that funding. In 2016, KSI sought funding through the City of Davenport through their general budget, and we were awarded $25,000. We still receive that $25,000 from the City of Davenport, and that goes to support the senior center itself. So our 8,000 activities that we provide at the center for the Quad Cities older adult population, whether that be health and wellness, exercise programs, card groups, support groups, grief support, those types of things. In 2018, KSI was among 11 organizations in the community that were completely defunded by the United Way. We received approximately $50,000 that supported the Senior Advocacy Program, and that funding went away overnight. In 2020, KSI was the only not-for-profit in our community to remain closed for an entire year, 12 months, as a result of COVID because of the severe and significant impact that this virus had on seniors. We lost close to $700,000 in earned revenue as a result of the COVID pandemic. And in 2023, as I'm sure everyone had heard, after 50 years of successful funding partnership, KSI was completely defunded by Scott County Community Services. In Scott County alone, we've seen a 40% increase in the 65 and older population as a result of the aging baby boomers. They are turning age 65 by the tens of thousands nationally. In Scott County, a 40% increase in the last 10 years alone. When we look at that same 10 years, KSI has seen an over 22% decrease in funding and revenue to serve that rapidly growing demographic. And so we are here tonight to ask for funding to help us support the growing senior population. The services that we provide at the center are not just providing mental health services or providing support just for those individuals. They are a benefit to our community in that they drive down long-term care costs over the lifespan of the individual. They help to reduce hospitalizations. They help to reduce readmissions to the hospital. And they help older adults to maintain their mental health and maintain their physical health for as long as possible. Thank you.
We have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Elizabeth. We'll go to Elizabeth.
I just want to clarify, you are still receiving $25,000 a year from the city of Davenport.
We are to support the senior center.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have a representative from Economic Development.
Good evening. My name is Suzanne Knudsen, and I'm the Economic Development Manager for the City of Davenport. And I always think like, oh my gosh, I follow such amazing stories, but I have amazing stories of businesses that we've helped fund over the past year. So over the past year, we've funded 7 different small businesses in the City of Davenport. And I mean, I'm sure everybody, if you've gotten a new car or you've refinanced, well, you wouldn't refinance your house right now on purpose. You look at the interest rates and you think, oh my gosh, like we were looking at buying an older car and it was like, we got to buy a newer car because we need a better interest rate. So the businesses, when they're coming to us, they're faced with anywhere from a very low, reasonable 8 or 9% interest rate on up. So what we provide is a very reasonable 2% interest rate loan. We've funded 7 different projects over the past year to the tune of $630,000. We have done a chiropractic doctor's place, a durable medical goods, basically specialty bras for mammogram patients. We've done a t-shirt printing place that moved into the Hilltop. It was, I believe, my very first loan in the Hilltop, Harrison Street of Davenport. So excited for that. They moved into a space that has been vacant for as long as I have been here. And it's nice to have somebody in our Hilltop selling Central Davenport t-shirts, selling West and North and for the students. It's neat to see those connections. We've got Stomp Box Brewery downtown here in Davenport. They have their own canning machine now, and now they're taking over kitchen services. We're able to help them get in the equipment that they need. So I think while everybody has amazing stories, I have amazing businesses that we have helped succeed here in Davenport. They've created over 17 new positions. All of those combined, I would say probably 15 to 20 retained positions. And it's neat to go out and see what these businesses have done. And the CAC funding through the CDBG program is definitely, some of them, a very large component of their financing. Other ones, maybe it's 10% of their financing, but I think every bit helps those businesses, especially in these times of high interest rates. Any questions? Happy to answer.
Any questions at all? Thank you, Susan.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you, Mark.
Thank you. Next will be a representative from Economic Development.
No.
I'm sorry, Housing, Rehabilitation, and Neighborhood Revitalization. Thank you, sorry about that.
That's okay. We're almost done.
Hi, everyone. My name is Letty Goslowski. I'm with the CUNY Economic Development Department here with the City of Davenport. Suzanne was just talking about the economic development side, so I'm just going to talk for a few minutes about the community development side. The revitalization supervisor overseeing, I don't have my sheet with me. Overseeing about 5 programs. All of them have federally funds with CDBG as well as home. And these programs help low to moderate households, families, as well as neighborhoods. One of our main programs is our owner-occupied rehab program. That is citywide, that's available to low to moderate income families. We help them assist with code violations, could possibly be HVAC, if a furnace goes out. We also include all lead remediation for any of those projects. That's a federal requirement using CDBG funds. A lot of our families have younger children. As you may or may not know, lead can be very deteriorating for children at that age. And lots of families are in the centralized area where homes are older that had lead. So that's something that we've really picked up on our owner-occupied program, as well as our specific area dream rehab program. We did approximately 9 projects last year with owner-occupied. We completed about 9 this past year, and we've got another 8 that's on the way, that's in progress. One of our other programs, besides those other 2 housing rehab, is our accessibility program for any type of ramps or lifts. We're talking about a lot of people are aging in place. We know the baby boomers are reaching the 65 and older. And a lot of people, if they want to stay in place, they need that assistance. They may need a shower that they can step into, 0 entry, or they need a ramp or a lift for them to get into their home. That has really picked up. We think we did 4 last year, and we already have 4 in the pipeline right now as of this year. That's a grant, so that's something that we're able to use with CDBG funds as well. We also have an urban homestead program where a lot of homes that are deteriorated and either they're vacant and abandoned, we acquire them through different means. We via tax certs, it could be gifted. More often than not, we purchase it at a very low price, and then we completely do a gut and rehab for that property. And what we do is put a low to moderate income family into that property. So not only are we doing the tax revenue coming back to the city, which in the county, which of course they like, but we also are putting in equity into the neighborhood. We're getting a family into affordable housing that has, we always talk about them need more bedrooms. So some of these are 3-4 bedroom homes. Right now, we're in the stage of 4 of them at this time, which is really exciting. I talked about that a little bit last year. One of them, we're getting ready to close with the eligible homeowners. It's a family of 5. The oldest child is 4. Then there's a 2-year-old, and mom is due February 9th. So that's gonna be happening here in a few weeks, and I don't think that can come at a better time. And then we have about 3 other houses that are in contract phases that we're hoping to have those in with eligible low to moderate income family members at some point this summer. We could not do this without the funding for CDBG, and that's just the reality. This is so important. We're hearing all of these great stories, and it really just brings it all together in home that we're able to do so much with this money. So I thank you guys for taking the time to listen to us today. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
We have a few questions.
Okay.
Mr. Kiefer?
Do you administer the commercial dream as well?
The commercial dream is part of the economic development
Oh.
section. And that, Suzanne can come back up if you'd like, if she's still here.
I just have a question about the commercial dream. I know it's really restrictive on the streets and that. I don't know, I think it should broaden and the area instead of specific streets.
Yeah.
Because I know some businesses interested, they're in the area, but they're not on that specific street.
Okay, so, when we did it probably 2 years ago, we had done like we have to slum and blight, we have to certify the area as slum and blight.
Right.
So, we did, I think we had, 5 Points, Iowa Locust, we did West, Washington, and Rockingham, thank you. So we had 5 areas. If there's other areas, especially if you can point us in that direction, maybe to Heather or Dawn, we can look at those. Unfortunately, we spent a lot then, with timeliness, we really spent down more money this past year. So I don't know when it would be coming back, but we can certainly look at adding some new areas, because frankly, I was shocked at how many applications we didn't get. And we go ahead and we mail out postcards to everybody that's in the area.
Sure.
So I think we didn't get a ton of apps. If we can reach out to a wider area.
Right, because like I said, I do some businesses, they're in the blighted area, but they're not on that specific street.
Yeah, we can
So-
certainly look at expanding the area. Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions? We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And finally, we'll have CDBG staff and operations. Heather,
I would be
you
timing
got
myself,
five
to
minutes.
keep myself honest, so thank you, I'm pushing the button. Okay, so thank you for having me. Every year I come up and say a variation on the same thing, which is that I represent, or I'm speaking on behalf of the planning and administration for the CDBG grant. And that would include staff costs, not just for the planning and administration, but also the staff costs that support the housing and urban revitalization program that Letty spoke about, and also the economic development program that Suzanne spoke about. And the reality is, federal funding is a wonderful opportunity for our community, but there's nothing in life that is free. And every dollar we receive comes with more strings than you could possibly imagine sometimes. And, you know, the staff costs, the administrative costs that go along with the grant are not often recognized as important as the actual grant or loan that goes out the door. But the reality is, if you did not have professional staff meeting the requirements that the federal government lays out for us, then none of the agencies or programs that are funded here or that we're presenting here tonight would be funded. HUD has very specific requirements about what we have to do, when we have to do it, what can be paid for, what cannot be paid for. And, you know, we've been very careful the last however many years to not raise staff costs or not raise the line items that we have control over. So, you know, staff costs are set by the city, and our programs don't get to decide individually the staff costs. Also indirect costs, so that would be the program share of the legal department, excuse me, and the finance department, and the IT department, and the computers we use, and the phones we use. We don't set the cost for those, the city just tells us what share of the grant that will be paid. But the lines that we do have control over, which, you know, are pretty limited to, you know, training, professional development, professional services, things of that nature, we've been very careful to hold the line on, and those have not changed in years. But I do want to point out one specific change that you might see this year, and that is in the professional development line for planning and administration. So we've been talking about COVID for the last few years, and I know Suzanne mentioned interest rates, and we've all experienced the way the costs have increased in maybe our own personal lives. And they've increased for our programs too. Our construction costs are way higher than they ever have been. Our interest rates are way higher than they ever have been. It's harder to get contractors and things like that. But for the first time, those post-COVID increases have now hit the planning and administration line as well. And that is because HUD requires that we do 2 studies every 5 years. One is called the Analysis of Impediments to Fair Housing Choice, and that is a study that evaluates relative equity between disadvantaged classes in our community with regards to housing. And then there's a housing needs assessment, which is not protected class based, it's income based. So what kind of housing do we have in our community? How affordable is it? Where is it located? What are we short of? Those are required studies. We must do them. We don't have a choice. HUD requires it. We got bids. We're going in partnership with Moline and Rock Island, which we have done a regional effort for at least the past 3 cycles, and I think even before that. So we're talking 15 to 20 years of regional efforts. And Moline is taking the lead this year, and they just recently got their bids back a couple weeks ago on those 2 studies, and the costs are double what was expected, double. They're double what they were the last time, and we don't have a choice about that. We have to pay it. So we had 3 bids from 3 companies across the country. All of the bids were closely aligned with each other, so it's not like just one was an outlier and we went with the high bidder. They were all about the same, and we have to pay it. We have no choice. So that is the first increase that we've had in the planning and administration line in at least 5 or 6 years. So other than staff costs, the first increase of a line we control, though we could argue we don't really control that either because it's a mandatory study. So we're trying our best to keep the costs down, but HUD's requirements don't go away, they only increase, and the costs we see now are increasing along with them. So we thank you for your support. And I have 11 seconds left.
Thank you so much. Any
Oh, and I'm
questions?
going to use my 11 seconds by saying we are very frugal. These are the same cards we've been using for 15 years. I made these
Very good,
14.
very
I'm sorry,
good.
I exaggerated. 14. I made these the first year I started here, and we're still using the exact same cards. So, see, we're saving.
Thank you, Heather. Any questions for Heather at all? At least not yet. Thank you so much. Moving along in the agenda, we still have to review and approve the minutes from our January 8th, 2024 meeting. That's in your packet. Thank you, presenters. Mr. Aaron's. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
So it was moved by Kiefer, second by Hodges. Yes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? There is a correction for section F, review and acceptance of financial report. Heather?
That was included on the agenda in error. We do have our authorization from HUD. We are able to start drawing down money, but we have not yet received our financial report from HUD or from our finance department. So I do expect we'll have that for you next month, but I just overlooked that in creating the agenda. So we'll have that for you next month for sure.
Thank you for that. Any questions? Any other business before the CAC this evening? Mr. Byrd?
I don't have any strong feelings on this actually one way or another, but it is a question I wanted to ask because of a recent change. We have a 5-minute time limit currently for public comment. I saw that the city council moved to doing a 3-minute time limit. Is that anything that we would want to change to remain in alignment? I mean, I know we're not a super high demand group, but I didn't know if we wanted to keep consistent with the city council on that, or if we should keep our current status.
That would be up to the CAC to decide. The 5-minute, the language that you see every month on the agenda and the time limit, when they were adopted several years ago, it was just quoted exactly from the same exact language that is used in the city council agendas. But there's nothing from HUD that would say we would have to follow that. So if you would like to be different, you can be different. If you'd like to keep the same, you're free to make that change. It would just be a vote to do that.
We have a comment from Mr. Overton.
I was gonna say we have so few people that make comments with us that when someone does come, it's not like we have a lot of people waiting afterwards.
Right.
That we're talking about 2-minute difference. I think I would rather give them the extra 2 minutes than to cut it off.
Are there any other thoughts? Thank you. We'll take that under advisement. Yeah. Any other business?
I would just point out that anything that would be requested, whether it's this, issue or some other issue, we would not be able to vote on that at a meeting where it wasn't on the agenda. So if someone would want to make a change of that nature or any other for that matter, they would need to, at a meeting like this, propose to add it to the next meeting's agenda. Staff would add it, and then you could vote on it the next time.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other business at all? I will then entertain a motion.
I have,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just do want to enter into the record the scoring requirements coming up, if that would be okay. So you've all been, first of all, thank you for bearing with us. Dawn and I were out of the office for training last week, so we did send out your agenda packets quite a bit earlier than normal, but We wanted to make sure you had them earlier rather than later. So you should all have your electronic version of the scoring sheet, meaning the Excel version, if you're comfortable scoring in the Excel version. If you prefer to score on paper, we sent you a PDF version you could print out. I also have plenty of hard copies that I'll put out on the table here. So if you're someone who likes to score on paper, you can pick up a couple hard copies on your way out and score that way. Included in your packet in front of you are also the evaluation elements. So that is the kind of rubric that you're scoring against. I do want to remind you that to be included in the score totals and to be eligible to vote on allocation night, you do have to score every box for every applicant. So you're, asked to review the applications, take into advisement the information in the application, also the information you've gained from the written questions and the in-person presentations, and you take all of those pieces together and incorporate those into your score. The scores will be due back to us by the end of the day, I think I said Friday, February 23rd. And that gives us a week to, first of all, make sure that the math is right and track down anybody who we need a clarification from, or if there's a score sheet that's running late, to follow up with that person. So please do turn it in by the 23rd, end of day, if you can. If you have a conflict of interest, so a conflict of interest is defined as a financial interest in any of the applicants, meaning you're employed by, or perhaps a member of your household is employed by any of the applicants, or you have any kind of conflict of interest or financial relationship with one of these agencies, or a decision-making relationship, meaning you or a member of your household is on the board, those kinds of things. If you need help deciding if you have a conflict, I can put you in touch with our legal department, and they will help determine if the relationship that you have constitutes a conflict. But if you do have a conflict, you do not score the line for that applicant. You can score all the others, but you can't score that applicant. And you would just want to write a C all the way across, C for conflict, in those boxes. And that will make it so that we don't include, you don't include a score, but also I do an adjustment on the back end. So the applicant is not penalized as if, they got zeros from you or something like that. So just keep in mind that, we ask that you evaluate your own relationships to determine if there's a conflict, and get in touch with our legal department if you need help with that. So return the scores back to us by February 23rd. Then our next meeting will be the March meeting, which is the ever popular allocation meeting. So at the allocation meeting, we will come together as a group. Only those members who completed and turned in a score sheet are eligible to vote at the allocation meeting. So, if for some reason you're not able to complete your score sheet, or you don't turn it in, just be aware that if you do choose to attend the March meeting, we won't be able to allow you to vote at that meeting on the allocations, having not participated in the scoring. So that would just be the reminder I have there. At the March meeting, we'll go through the applicants one by one. We have a formula calculated recommended score funding amount that was developed by the CAC some years ago. And the formula will present to you a possible award amount for each applicant. Except that the CAC does have to vote affirmatively on the amount for the staff and supply lines for the city. And so those are not final determination of numbers. The CAC will still go through, review the formula calculated amounts, and you can vote to change those formula calculated amounts. It requires the motion and a second that identifies which agency you'll be taking funding from, which agency you'll be giving, recommending the money go to, and the reason. And then that vote requires a 2/3 majority to pass. So the formula is not the final determination. You do have the opportunity to change it, but by working with your colleagues to get the minimum number of votes is the way that would be. changed. And the CAC, as I know you all know, but repeating for the record, is a recommendation body. So whatever recommendations are determined at the March meeting will be forwarded to City Council for final action. They can choose to accept in whole, in part, or reject in whole, in part, the CAC's determination. But I think our process is strong. It's been a long time since the City Council has overridden a CAC decision or even kicked a decision back to the CAC for reconsideration. So I do feel the process is strong and don't expect any trouble this year, but you just never know. So I just want to say that. Any questions at all about the scoring process or timing? Do you want to push the talk button just so you get recorded?
Yeah, do you have a report card?
I don't have one with me, but if you want to hang up, I can either run upstairs and print one for you, or I can email it to you.
Email's fine.
Okay. Alrighty.
Heather, would you mind emailing a report card to the entire
Okay,
committee? Thank you
Yep.
so much.
I can do that. I will do that first thing in the morning.
Thank you, Chad, for that.
And just for the record, we have the report card, we just printed it out and shared it at the work session, the application work session. So that's why some of you, if you weren't able to attend that, you might not have it, but I can share that around with you.
Thank you for all your hard work, Heather. I appreciate it, especially on a night when you're solo, so. appreciate it.
Dawn and I traveled for work last week, and the plane no sooner landed than she came down with a cold.
Oh, my.
So that's an airplane for you. So, so she's out, she's very ill with a cold, so I'm on my own tonight. I appreciate your patience. And Mark helped me set up, so thank you to Mark.
So I will entertain a motion. A motion to adjourn. Or we can hang out. Let's hang out. With Nolan?
Yes, I would like to propose a motion to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second? Lord, second it. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The CSC meeting has been concluded. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.